and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm here to share some books I got for my birthday. I've been doing pretty well on the book buying front this year. One of my main goals for the year has been to try and read all of the physical books on my TBR that I had before the start of the year. So I was happy to keep buying new books, but I was trying not to accumulate them too quickly because I want to read all my older books, and then I don't want to have the same situation next year where I have like 60 books to try and read again. Anyway, it's kind of got a bit wrong. So it was my birthday this week, and so coming up to my birthday, I thought I would buy myself a few books. I normally get money for my birthday, so I was like, okay, I'll buy a couple of books that I'm really looking forward to getting to. So I bought 4 books, and then my boyfriend was like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? And for context, he is really bad with presents. So for Christmas, he bought me flexibility supplements. Even though I have no real interest in flexibility, I've never really mentioned it. And he ordered them from America and they've still not arrived, and it's now August. So yeah. When he was like, oh, shall I get you a surprise for your birthday? I was like, no, I don't think so. So we ended up going to Waterstones, and I just picked out a few books for him to buy. And then his mum heard that he had bought me books, and she was like, oh, I can buy you a couple of books. And then she bought me 8 books. So it's got a bit ridiculous. But it's great because I'm really excited to read all of these. There are also 3 books that I bought secondhand when I was down in Edinburgh a couple of weeks ago. So I'll talk you through these. So yeah, I went to a charity shop in Edinburgh and I picked up a few books. So I got Fictions by Jorge Luis Borges. I think that I have tried some Borges before, but I don't think it was this one. I think it might have been Labyrinths that I tried, and I didn't really get on with it super well. A lot of his stories are kind of parables, I guess, but he is meant to be like an incredible writer, a very smart writer. His short stories are meant to be really unlike anything else. So this one is nice and short. It's only like 170 pages. So I'm going to try again with this. I mean, when I say I tried to read one of his books, it was almost 10 years ago. So I've read a lot more now. So I'm hoping that I'll come back to it and I'll get on better with it. And then I picked up Science Preceding the End of the World by Yuri Herrera. This has sort of been on my radar for a while, but when I saw it secondhand, I was like, oh great. So this is a very short book. Herrera's a Mexican author. This is about someone trying to cross the US-Mexico border. I don't know much else about it. Again, it's really short. It's like 120 pages. So I'm hoping to get to this one soon. I also picked up Nights at the Circus by Angela Carter. I've never read any Angela Carter before. I know that a lot of people really like The Bloody Chamber. I'm not really into fairy tales, so I thought that this one might be a better one to start with. I think this is just set at Circus. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I've wanted to try Carter for a while, so again, great excuse to pick it up. And then 4 books that I bought myself. I bought Garden Stories. I saw this on someone's Instagram and it looked like a really pretty book. Also because it's summer, I feel like when I'm walking about, all of the flowers are out. I want to read about flowers and gardens at the moment, so I've actually already started this. I'm about halfway through it and I'm really enjoying most of the stories so far. It's got a great selection. It's got a story from Virginia Woolf, Doris Lessing, Jamaica Kincaid. There's still ones to come by Italo Calvino. I read Catherine Mansfield's Garden Party. And I think J.G. Ballard's The Garden of Time is in it as well. So quite a lot of quite famous stories, famous writers. Really enjoying it so far. It's given me exactly what I wanted, so great. Then I picked up Prairie Dresses Are Other by Danielle Dutton. I've heard loads of people talking about this and it just sounds really interesting. So I believe that there are some short stories, there's an essay, and then there's some sort of piece where she's describing different dresses that are in really famous sort of films. It just sounds really interesting. Again, it's nice and short. It's about 150 pages. I saw Katie James talking about this and she really enjoyed it. It just sounded really different from anything I've read. So I'm excited to pick this one up. Another book that I was sort of influenced on is Art and Lies by Jeanette Winterson. I heard Dakota Warren talking about this. She made a video that was like, weird books for weird people. And this just sounded really interesting. I've read one of Jeanette Winterson's books before. I read Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, and I did really like it. I have tried a couple of others and not really got on with them, but this one sounds like it would be more up my street. So this is about Sappho, Picasso, and Handel all getting on a train in a sort of near future London. So yeah, sort of like reimagining three famous figures. I'm not sure what it's going to be like at all. But yeah, again, it's quite short. It's just over 200 pages, so I'm excited for this one. We'll see how it goes. And I also really like this cover. And then the last one that I bought myself is Arlington Park by Rachel Cusk. So I read In the Fold by Rachel Cusk back in June, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of her earlier books, and I believe that Arlington Park is also a sort of earlier book. So yeah, I thought this one sounded really good. It's sort of set in an English suburb over the course of a day. I think it's going to be quite dramatic, like high tension. So yeah, I wanted to continue my Cusk journey, so this is next on the list. Then on to the books that Scott got me. I picked up White Nights by Dostoevsky. I have the Brothers Karamazov on the shelves to read, but this one is nice and short. I do really like Dostoevsky's writing. I've heard so many people talking about this, and it was only £3, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to give it a go, see how I get on. I think this is just 2 short stories. It says 2 devastating Russian stories of solitude, unrequited love, and depravity from beyond the grave. So yeah, I mean, it's short. And then if you saw my July wrap up, I read Tar Baby and really, really enjoyed it. It was like my favourite book of the month. So I picked up Jazz by Toni. I don't know too much about this one. It's just the one that I wanted to get to next. And yeah, I really loved Morrison's writing. This one says, Joe Trace, in his 50s, door-to-door salesman of Cleopatra beauty products, erstwhile devoted husband, shoots dead his lover of 3 months, the impetuous 18-year-old Dorcas. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite dramatic. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. A book that I'm less sure I'm going to love, but I really hope I do, is Cosmicomics by Italo Calvino. So I read If on a Winter's Night a Traveller by Italo Calvino, and I didn't really like it. It's sort of a bit of a strange book where each chapter is like the start of a story and you never get to finish the story, and I just found it really frustrating. But I think in general his writing is quite experimental. He's doing different things with form. Cosmicomics is, it says it tells the story of the history of the universe from the Big Bang through millennia and across galaxies. But it's like, you know, it's alternative history. It's definitely not like actually what happened. So I think I could really get on with this one. I'm sort of in the mood for some more more experimental, quirky stuff. So I'm hoping this is the one that gets me into Calvino as an author. And then an author that I've wanted to pick up for a really long time but just haven't got to is Kobo Abe. I picked up The Women in the Dunes. I don't know too much about this. I think that his writing is meant to be, again, quite strange. I think this is about a man that goes to this sort of desert town and then he gets stuck there. And he can't leave. This woman that he meets in the dunes sort of telling him he can't leave. Yeah, I think a lot of his work is quite existential and a bit trickier. So I'm excited to see how this one goes. And a book that I put on my summer TBR that I just hadn't picked up is the Penguin Book of Korean Short Stories. I'm really excited for this one. There are a lot of stories in this. There's a good 35 stories. And having looked through the list of authors, like I don't recognise any of them. I don't think any of them are authors I've read from before. So that's really good because if I enjoy them, then I might be able to pick up more stuff by them. So yeah, I'll definitely get to this one soon. As I say, it was on my summer TBR, so I should probably start it very soon. And then the last one that Scott got me is A Mountain to the North, A Lake to the South, Paths to the West, A River to the East by Laszlo Krasznahorkai. I read The Melancholy of Resistance by Krasznahorkai and I really liked his writing, but I found it quite tricky to get through. He writes in really, really long sentences, very, very descriptive language. The Melancholy of Resistance is about this town where a big whale turns up that you can go and see, and everyone's a bit freaked out by it. It's yeah, it is a very strange book. I wanted to try more of his stuff because I really, really liked his writing. It was quite unlike anything I've ever read. I just struggled a little bit because it was a bit of a longer book and it really took me a long time to get through because it was dense. This book is very short. It's 110 pages. It's about Prince Genji's grandson arrives at a monastery in Kyoto to continue his search for a hidden guardian that has long captivated him. So this is quite different because Krasznahorkai is a Hungarian author, and the other book I read was definitely like a sort of communisty type Hungary. So this is very different. This is set in Japan. I'm interested. Again, it's about gardens. I'm sort of in a naturey mood, so I think it'll be good. And then I'm on to the stack that Scott's mum got me. So yeah, she was very generous. I sent her a list of like potential books that I would like, and she picked some from it. I sort of said, oh, if you could pick me 2 books, that'd be great. And yeah, she ordered 8. So I'm very excited for all of these. So I would love to be able for people to just like pick me surprise books, but yeah, it just doesn't really work. I've just read a lot of books and I'm very picky. So it's definitely better to just send people ideas of what I would like. So the first book is a book that I've been wanting to read since it came out, but it's just come out in paperback, and that's The Maniac by Benjamin Labatut. I read When We Cease to Understand the World by this author when it was shortlisted for the Booker International, and I really, really liked it. It was like sort of interconnected short stories about different scientists and mathematicians. This one I believe is about the atomic bomb. Yes. It says, at its core, John von Neumann, a titan of science who revolutionized many fields from game theory to computer systems and helped develop the atomic bomb. As illness unmoored his mind, his work pushed further into areas beyond human comprehension and control. This sort of seems to be a continuation of the last book. It's the same sort of themes. It's definitely still about scientists. I really like learning about science and scientists, even though I'm not particularly interested in science. There's something about reading about that in books, because I think quite often you get narratives of authors and writers and creative people in books, but not really so much scientists. I just realised I've not mentioned any of the translators, but I'll put them in the description below so you can see. I really like Labatut's writing style, so I'm looking forward to this one. I have been meaning to pick it up since it came out, but yeah, it was really expensive in hardback, so it was best to wait. And the next one is a book that I've heard really mixed things about, but I think it could be a book for me, and that's The Last Samurai by Helen DeWitt. This is a book about a young boy who's lost his father. His mother's like trying to teach him lots of different languages. I think it's meant to be quite a sort of philosophical book about the power of learning. It's quite long. I've heard people say it's really like dense. But I really like the idea of the learning of different languages. It also made it into the like New York Times 100 best books list. It was quite high up, I think. So yeah, this is one that I've like been meaning to get to for a long time, and I've just never really prioritized. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And then a couple of shorter books. I got So Long a Letter by Mariama Ba. She is a Senegalese author, and this is, I think, is sort of epistolary. Is her writing letters to, I don't know if it's to different people or the one person throughout. It's nice and short. It's just over 100 pages. I have heard a lot of people read this for like a sort of around the world reading challenge. I think I've already read a book from Senegal, but yeah, I really wanted to pick this one up, so I'm very excited. And then in July, I read my second Clarice Lispector, which was Near to the Wild Heart, and I really loved it. And so I picked up Agua Viva. I've heard this is a good place to go next. It's very, very short. It's like 80 pages, but I think this is sort of gives you a clear, concise idea of what her ideas are that she explores throughout the rest of her books. So yeah, it's going to be a very strange little book, and I imagine very introspective. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A bit of a wild card is the autobiography of Red by Anne Carson. So I know a lot of people really love Anne Carson. I know that Emma over at Emmy really liked this, and I've heard lots of very good things, but this is sort of a retelling of a Greek myth in sort of poetry type format, which is not something that really has ever appealed to me, but I just want to give it a go to see what it's like, because I think Anne Carson's writing will be extremely beautiful, and I would like her to be an author that I really like. I'm going to need to do a little bit of reading about like what the story's about before I start, otherwise I don't think I'm going to get much from it. I don't actually know what story it's a retelling of, so that could be a slight issue for that. But yeah, looking forward to it. And then next is another one that I heard Katie James talk about, and that's Between the Acts by Virginia Woolf. I've read quite a lot of Virginia Woolf now, and I really like her as an author. My favourite is definitely Orlando. I really loved that book. Between the Acts is a lesser known book. It just sounds really good. It's set between the acts of a play that is being put on in like a village. And I think you just see from lots of different characters' perspectives. Because I really like Virginia Woolf, I think I'll get on really well with this one. I do want to read everything she's written, and this one sounds really interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And then second last book, a book that I was pretty sure was going to make it onto the Booker long list because I just heard so many people talking about it, and I'm actually quite happy it didn't. Not, I mean, it's a shame for this book, but I feel like if it had made it on, I'd have felt a huge pressure to read this book immediately, and it's very, very long. And that's Praiseworthy by Alexis Wright. So Alexis Wright is an Australian author, and I think this is like quite an expansive, sweeping book. It deals with sort of the legacy of colonial rule in Aboriginal society. I think it's sort of a bit of a climate crisis book as well. It looks like it's written in a very strange, interesting way. I've heard so many amazing things about it, so I'm really, really excited. But yeah, I'm not sure when I'll get to it because I didn't realise when I ordered it like quite how big it is. Like it was really massive. But yeah, looking forward to it. Lastly, a book that I've wanted to read for a really long time, but I've never seen it anywhere. I don't know if it was out of print and they've like reprinted it. But that's Tropic of Orange by Karen Tay Yamashita. She is an author that's based in LA, and a lot of her books just sound really interesting. I think her most famous book is I Hotel, which is sort of set outside this like international hotel in LA. It was very long. When I looked up, I didn't realise that when I was going to put that one on the list, and it was like 700 pages, and I already had some longer books, and I was like, So I picked up Tropic of Orange instead. I don't know if I'm going to like this. It doesn't really sound on paper like my sort of thing, but she's an author that I've really wanted to try. It says, irreverently juggling magical realism, film noir, hip-hop and chicanismo, Tropic of Orange takes place in an LA where the homeless gangsters, infant organ entrepreneurs and Hollywood collide in a stretch of the Harbor Freeway. Hemmed in by wildfires, it's a symphony conducted from an overpass, grandiose, comic and as diverse as the city itself. So yeah, sounds interesting. So yeah, I'm very excited to give this one a go as well, see how I got on. So yes, those are all of the books. It is a bit ridiculous. I think I have I think I have like almost 30 books that I got for my birthday, which is not ideal for just like trying to read the books I own. However, I am really, really looking forward to reading all of these. I don't think I'm going to be buying any more books for the rest of the year. I don't have the best willpower, but unless I'm like secondhand shopping, I don't think I'm going to buy any new books for the rest of the year. I'm really excited to get to all of these, and I think they'll keep me going for a long time. The one issue I have is I still have like 25 unread books from last year on my shelves that I want to read before the end of the year. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have to read all of the new books as well, which is kind of why I've been trying to not buy as many new books, because I don't want to have a whole pile of books I just feel like I can't get to. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books and enjoyed them, or if there are any that you'd like to pick up. And yeah, I'll speak to you again soon.